All righty, what's going on, everybody? I already got some viewers. I see the ticker at the top left, so we're cooking with grease.
Gas.
Is it cooking with grease or cooking with bacon?
I think it's
I think
cooking
it's
with gas. But yeah, I don't think it's either. Yeah.
Well, there we go. So, anyways, we are cooking with something this morning. But for those of you, you're like, what the heck? Today's not Thursday. Do I have my days wrong? This is a special Unicorn Finders for the Dayo crew. We're very excited with what they have going on, and ultimately, I'm actually supposed to have a kid in 4 weeks, so we'll be taking some time off, and so trying to cram in as many guests as possible. So very excited to have Corey here on the show. Corey, thanks for joining us. Before we dive in, I want to give a quick background about what this thing is, right? So Dan and I have been at this thing for 4 years now. And we're telling Corey backstage, it's just an excuse for us to hang out. And so we've iterated on this thing for a little bit. Now, what we kind of I'm just calling it the official slogan now is we uncover companies doing really cool shit that you probably haven't heard of yet, right? So that is what we do. And so excited to hang out with Corey and Dayo. So enough of me running my mouth. Corey, let's give the people what they want, a little bit about you at a high level, because I think your background obviously kind of sets it up a little bit, and then let's go ahead and dive into the app.
Well, thank you guys for having me. This is a really cool concept that you have, and I think it's probably a great service to both companies and the people listening to find out things in advance. You guys definitely are early adopters. Probably my first interview, actually, on this concept.
There you go. We love to see it.
You guys got there first. Well, my name's Corey Sholabo. I'm a serial social entrepreneur. What I think that means is I'm always looking for mission-based projects. And for me, I'm kind of always looking for the thing behind the thing. So I started my life in entertainment marketing, working for big brands like Sky Vodka, Mac Cosmetics. I kind of helped build James Purse's store footprints, and sort of realized that I was helping build people's brands, but not really owning a piece of them, not having any real return on value, just sort of retained. And this was my 20s. And then I left and was an editor at a magazine called The Advocate for a few years. It's the leading LGBT news magazine in the US. Back when we used to put out 2 issues a month. It was a really interesting time, kind of the end of the print media world. But I got to experience that. And in that case, I was sort of in the LGBT rights movement. I was there for Prop 8. I watched all that go down. And I started to really look at the environmental movement. And to me, that was about 2008. This is when the environmental movement was really taking off. Al Gore's movie had come out. Adrian Grenier had a show. And you're watching Peacock do its first like green Peacock for Earth Month or whatever. And it just seemed to me that the thing behind the thing at that point was we're not really going to need rights as queer people if we don't have a planet to live on. So let me go work on that. And so we started this company called Repurpose, which is now the leading company for compostable tableware, the leading brand. So you would go into the store and you could find green ketchup and natural everything, natural cleaning. And then you would get to the tableware aisle, the cups, plates, bowls, and you had Styrofoam, Dixie, Chinette, Solo, same people. So we took what was already a commercially ready technology, because you could probably go to your local coffee shop and find a compostable cup, and packaged it, branded it, built some innovation around it, and put it in the actual grocery store right next to Dixie so that you could purchase an alternative to plastic. We started that company in 2009. We're currently in Costco, Whole Foods. We're the leading brand. So that really was a long journey, though, about 10 years for me. And then I stepped away. And in that step away during COVID, I moved to Portland. And I was approached to start another company called Weil, which is a line of supplements for women in their midlife, perimenopause and menopause. Very random. But in that case, I started to recognize, because I was approached with some passionate colleagues who really believed in the space, and Johnson & Johnson wanted to incubate us. And it was like, okay, something's happening here. And at that point, I realized we're not really going to achieve the climate and democracy goals we're looking for unless midlife women are participating. We can't just have all the women, 50% of the population, drop out at 45 because of menopause and perimenopause, sit on the bench, feel bad, quit their jobs, etc. So that felt like a thing behind the thing. And then all along this time, I've been obsessed with the attention economy and the emergence of social media. So I just sold that company Weil, and while I was in the process of selling it, I was starting Dayo. And for me, right now, the thing behind all the things is, what is social media doing to us? What is social media doing to democracy? What is social media doing to our brains? What is social media doing to our children? And what are we going to do about it, more importantly? Because we're all, let's face it, we're all addicted. And that's kind of where Dayo came in. We had this idea that there's so many quote unquote alternatives for people, helpful things, apps, lockboxes, etc., which we can get into, but none of them seem to work. None of them have mass adoption. No one I know uses them. I've never been able to successfully use any of them. And so we thought those are all stick models. We're basically telling people, don't use this. Use your willpower on this addictive technology. And so we thought, what if we could create a carrot? What if every minute that you're not on social media, you get a point? And then what if that point is essentially $1? Or sorry, a cent. And what if ultimately that's $1 in the marketplace? And so we created a free and frictionless app that you download that monitors your screen time and therefore knows your social media use and rewards you for every minute you stay offline. You start out with 500 points at the beginning of the day or $5. And if you can stay offline no more than 30 minutes that day, or stay off social media no more than 30 minutes that day, you're going to get $5. And you're going to go to a marketplace and redeem that just like you did your United Rewards points or your Best Buy points or any other reward system that you're used to, and get massive discounts on goods and services from brands who want you to actively work on your social media use. So it's an app to help you lower your social media use and to come in line with what we hope is a more realistic and healthy approach to living in the digital world. That's
really good. Talk to us a little bit about the premise. So obviously, sorry, not the premise, the inner workings of the app. So you will download the app. You'll be able to, my understanding, select what social media is included in that score, and then does it give you push notifications once you've hit a certain time limit? Because it doesn't block you out. Because I know there's some apps that will completely like block you out of an app unless you like override. Touch us a little bit about how that works from a back end perspective.
Yeah, this isn't about the blockout because I think the blockout's bullshit, to be honest. I think everyone clicks ignore. I think everyone reboots their phone. I mean, it's bullshit. Like nobody does that. There's all these apps my friends who are workaholics will talk about that on your computer that'll tell you to stop working, and they're like, there's a button that says "Let me work," meaning let me keep going, not listen to the alert.
I was just
and my friends like, all I do is let me work, let me work, let me work. That's how addictive.
Yeah, defeats purpose, bullshit. Right?
Yeah, we're not going to get locked out. We need to gently encourage people, right? Because this is something that people actively hate and actively love at the same time, in the same token, right? Like, how much hate do people talk about social media on social media while they're still using social media? So there's something weird going on there. So I don't think it works. I don't think you can demonize it. I don't think you can tell people not to use it. I don't think you can tell people what's in their willpower. So what happens is essentially we're going to give you 30 minutes a day, 30 points a day, 30 minutes a day, free and fair, no matter what. And that's because the American Psychological Association will actually tell you that 30 minutes a day is net positive. So you're supposed to go online and see my dog and see that, Dan had a birthday party or whatever. And I've caught up with you and now I know what's up. And like, isn't that so great that you had a birthday party and awesome? And then get the fuck off. But we don't. And what we do is we stay and we infinite scroll, or doom scroll rather, and we compare and despair. And this is where suicidation comes in and all the other horrible things we're talking about, which we can get into. So 30 minutes a day, free and clear, you're going to get 30 points no matter what. And then after 30 minutes, it's going to alert you and say, hey, your 30 minutes is up. It's time to maybe slow down. Do you want to take a break? And eventually these large language models will have like fresh content every time and be designed against your wants and needs, right? Do you want to hear from me every minute and be like, seriously, Corey, get offline? Or do you want to hear from me once? And if I don't do it, then peace out. You'll be able to choose how you want to interact with the app. But the idea is to gently encourage you to use less with this fully, let's face it, capitalistic carrot model. Do you want some cash? Would you stop for cash? Is the whole premise. And you will eventually either choose that path or not, and over time nudge in that direction. Now, other features of the app will be content, alternatives, things to do, which is important with any addictive technology. You can't just say don't use it. You have to offer alternatives, eventually groupings and challenges. Let's say we all want to challenge each other. Like next month, I really want to use less. Can we all use 1 hour less a day? Let's challenge each other and work towards that challenge and earn bonus points because of it. There's so many different ways you're going to be able to interact in order to motivate yourself. Maybe eventually you want to motivate your child, your partner, etc. That's how we see the almost like communal regulation that we can help each other to achieve these goals, but all with this soft, gentle, like, you didn't do it today, so great, let's try again tomorrow.
That's okay.
it's not life. Yeah.
Thomas comes in here. It's interesting. Do you find that genders are more affected by social media than others? Have researchers approached your company about your findings on social media and effects on society?
Women are more greatly affected in the numbers we're seeing around teens. So a lot of what we're seeing, good, but unfortunate for people our age, is the research is how it affects people under the age of 18 and maybe under the age of 21, especially because the human brain is still forming, I think, till 25. So there's some research going into the neurocognitive effects of what they're calling popcorn brain, which is the constant need to pick up your phone. And that's going on. But then primarily what I think most people are first concerned about are these kids, right? So suicidality among young girls is at 25%. And that's not suicidal ideation, that's suicidal plan, which is step 2 in a 4-step process to committing suicide. So it's pretty alarming. I think you saw Zuckerberg hauled up in front of Congress to apologize for dead teens. And I'm not laughing. It was just like hilarious that he's there, like as if pretending he cares. Then, so you're seeing that that's really happening in young girls. So young girls on social media, primarily, that's how that's going down. Now with young men, what we're seeing is a lot of this, a lot of incel behavior, right? This sort of disconnectedness using social media, and it radicalizes you very quickly. If you listen to a podcast like The Rabbit Hole, it was the YouTube algorithm, the constant recommendation that kept playing no matter what. And these kids were just putting on YouTube, starting off somewhere somewhat benign, maybe like a masculine, like something. And by the end of it, they're watching, like terrorist propaganda, like literally like Al-Qaeda videos and the Holocaust never existed, because the algorithm has to keep getting your attention. So men are really being bathed in a diet of, a lot of them being bathed in a diet of violence, potentially on social media. I was watching an interview on the Daily Show the other day of a man who's like, these young men, an expert whose young men's feeds are waking up. A lot of young men are waking up watching car crashes first thing in the morning. Like there's some weird shit going on out there. So it's affecting genders differently. I would say women have been more concerned based on the numbers, but we're seeing this, like men are falling behind in a lot of statistics right now. I mean, women are doing better in school. Women are graduating at better rates. Some of that equality action has really, really worked, which is great. But then, what about these men who are being left behind? So it's a good question. And I think both.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, Dan. No, go ahead.
So it's interesting that you brought that up, because I mentioned I listened to a podcast by Derek Thompson a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned that posting by individuals is becoming more selective. I think they said like 65% of people are becoming more selective about what they post. But the amount of time that they're spending on social media, probably following memes and dances and TikToks and all these other more, whether it's informational or not, the consumption of social media is going through the roof. So I think the way that we view social media has just changed so much from the early days of Facebook, where it's more communal, and even Twitter, where it's more kind of a diary of your day, to Instagram, which was more of like, hey, I'm going on this vacation, or I'm doing this or that. And now the consumption has completely moved almost into this creator economy phase. And that's where I think we've kind of moved away from social media being this like social group media to this large consumption of just mass data by other people. And I think that's where I think we kind of jumped the shark. And I don't know if we can we're going to use two metaphors. I don't think we can put the toothpaste back in the tube now. Now it's a point where we just need to figure out a way to like get off of the amount of time that we're spending, right?
I mean, that's my conclusion. Kara Swisher always says engagement is enragement, right? And that's really the truth. It's just as long as you stay on it long enough, even myself, like watching I'm interested in politics. Obviously, I'm interested in democracy and the salvation of our democracy. It's one of the goals of this app.
It's big fan of democracy. Yeah,
big fan of democracy. Been doing great things. A little bit in the rough right now.
What do you mean by that? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know how political we want to get, but so I get a lot of that content, and I wake up in the morning and I want to get it because it's almost like a feeling of news to me. But then I don't really know if it's news, because not all of it's verified, and who knows what's true, and it's opinion. And then I watch it for 30 minutes in the morning, and I'm kind of riled up. Like I kind of want to write a letter to the Supreme Court, and I kind of want to post some crap. And I'm like, why do I have this charge in the morning there's a physical psychological
Mm.
charge that comes from this thing. It's why it's addictive.
Yeah.
And if you go into recovery programs and so on, you would that's getting high. You're getting high off anger. You're getting high off enragement. You're getting high off injustice. Whatever it is, you're getting something out of it. You're getting an emotional reaction. And so I really think this is an addictive technology. I always say, imagine you were walking on the street and everywhere you go, every step, there's heroin. And then they say, well, it's within your control. Don't use so much heroin. And then you take another step and someone's like, would you like some heroin? Like, you can't stop. You're not going to be able to stop that. Right. And so it's the same thing with social media. Only imagine you have to use a little bit of it, right? Like you kind of maybe need to go online, especially a lot of people for work, or it's your friend from high school's kids and all that. There's some it's somewhere between drug addiction and food addiction, right? You have to eat a little bit every day. You have to eat in moderation.
It's like it's everything channels through that now, right? I mean, and I posted something that made a lot of my Twitter followers mad last week because I have a pretty like focused account, and then I posted something and they got all mad. And I think part of it was like because political discourse has gotten so just life discourse. We're not talking politics here. Life discourse has gotten so much into these what are sound bites and how can I get whatever the sound bite is in 1 minute. Often it misses context. Often it misses a lot of the broader picture of what the actual discussion or engagement's about. And ultimately, to drive this back to the app here, is if we can drive towards more actual conversation and away from trying to figure out what can I do to bring the most viewers, right? And I think that cable news did a really good job of this years ago of like, if we post the stuff that's going to piss people off, people are going to watch it. And that's what we as a society have like moved to on social media. So that to me is, I hate social media, but I'm addicted to it, right? Like I do have popcorn brain because like I do look all the time because I have a fear of missing out on information, right? I'm a consumer of news and of information. So with that being said, other than saying, hey, just put down social media or we want to reward you by being on it less, I know that just consuming less is good, but it doesn't necessarily change the societal world that we're in of like you have to know what's going on, or did you see this dance or this song or this video that gets shared with you. Like what can somebody do beyond just like saying, hey, I know that I shouldn't use social media anymore? I know that you guys are working on it, but are like from a behavioral change standpoint, is that something you guys can
as far as like the actions? Yeah. I mean, there's so many different approaches that we hear from like therapists and psychologists and people in the field. So, some people it's just going to be motivated by the product. Some people it's about community. Some people it's about replacing it with something else. Generally, you replace it with something else. So a lot of what you'll find, for instance, in our marketplace, we're going to have everything, but there's special notebooks to help you be more present. A lot of it's going to be about activities and activations we want to drive people to actual in life activities. So let's say the two of us earned a bunch of points to go have a dinner at this restaurant. Hey, you want to go have dinner at this restaurant? We both earned the points and we're going to go. This is a local partner. Things like that are our goal. So you do have to offer people an alternative for sure. But I think the FOMO you're talking about is what we're hijacking, right? So can you get the FOMO on the money? Like instead of feeling FOMO, because let's face it, you're not missing anything. And you know that on some level. So is the FOMO of like, well, if I could, this is all bullshit. And if I could get $5 today, if I just, stayed offline. And then the app will be like, hey, you wanted these Nikes. If you could just do another hour today, like it's in your cart, you've liked it. So the model can eventually like learn what you're interested. It's going to learn what you're interested in and then help you achieve that goal. And so it's like, if you could just get off another 20 minutes today, you got those Nikes. And so really making it tangible. What do I get from this? And tying that to goods and services, because I just don't think people are motivated by goodwill to save themselves.
No, for sure. I think a lot of people, and I struggle with this, is like this main character syndrome that if I don't know and somebody's having a discussion about it, I don't know, like I'm like, man, I feel so left out here. So I just constantly consume. So this is where I think something like this for most people can really help because it drives towards something. Hey, I want new shoes. I want to go to this restaurant. I want to just do something different. And people are very goal oriented, right? Like if you tell yourself, hey, I want to reach this goal, people I think are going to naturally try to push themselves to do it. And then I think it's just a matter of continuing to want to do it, to be like, hey, that dopamine hit that I got of like, hey, I didn't, like, the world still spun without me
Mhm.
knowing what's going on at TikTok. That's where I think that behavior, but hopefully it's that grasping at once and not just, okay, I got those Nikes. It's, hey, I got those Nikes. Now I want to go to this restaurant and now I want to continue to
Right.
do it, to a point where it's not even, I want to do it to get new shoes or to get Nikes. It's because I know, like, the world's going to spin whether I know or not, and I've now lost that behavior. So that's really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, for some people, it's probably a revelation to understand that the world keeps spinning. I think most of us know that we miss a day and we don't really miss that much. In fact, if
Hmm.
anything, like I was obsessed with I'm obsessed with the P Diddy scandal on TikTok right now, and
Oh yeah.
it's interesting because I'm learning. I got addicted to TikTok for this app. I was like, I gotta understand TikTok if I'm gonna do this app, this project. I need to really know what's going on. I can't just be dismissive of it.
That is my excuse as
Yeah.
well. That's the excuse I
Is
have.
why you're on it, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's
but I
just
mean, that really was
frustration.
why, because I tried during the pandemic, and I was like, I don't get it. They're selling me a curling iron, and I don't get it. Like, this doesn't know who I am. It doesn't make any sense. But it took about a week, and then it just like clicks in. You know, that algorithm is amazing, and I realized, like, for instance, the P Diddy scandal. It seems like news, right? There are all these like talking heads, like these crazy first person accounts, but they're not verified anywhere, right?
Right.
So I don't know if any of this is real.
Yeah.
So it's like you're watching the first act of a documentary, but none of it's
Yeah.
been proven. But my point on that is like, there's after about 5 minutes, you've seen it all. You're just seeing different versions of the same point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can watch another take on that, or you can watch another take on Jasmine Crockett and Lauren Boebert's fight, or another video of them dancing, beach bad, butch
Hmm.
buddy, or, I saw that trend. But you've really already seen it. Like, honestly, you've already seen it. So I
Yeah.
think if there's some other motivator for you to stop, will that help you short circuit the process?
I'm curious on the other end with like the vendors and getting people on board to the platform. How's that conversation go? Like, how does that go down? Are brands receptive to join on? Like, have you had much resistance? Like, just kind of give some color around that.
Haven't had any resistance. We have about 47 brands on the platform currently, about 500 products. Again, we're an MVP. We are not even in, we're just testing the glitches, and we're going to launch very soon in a soft launch. But yeah, no resistance. I think some, big brands want to see scale. So they're like, cool, call me when you got thousands of
Yeah.
users. And smaller
Yeah.
brands are like, this sounds awesome. Let's do it now. And everything in between. There's a lot of really great cross-selling happening right now. And in that, D2C has become so, and we didn't really talk about the brand side of things, but in the brand side of things, which is what I've come from. I've been the CEO of consumer products companies. I've built D2C businesses. I've seen that CAC go up and down. And, for people out there who don't know what that is, like, customer acquisition costs are going through the roof. We used to go online and sell somebody something in about 2-3 attribution points. Now it's like 12 if you're lucky. And so it's gotten harder and harder to get customers. 1 out of every $4 that investors put into consumer products companies goes to Meta, Google, or Alphabet, I guess it's called, because that's what the digital advertising dollars are. It's about a $500 billion economy. And what's interesting about it is 1 in 3 of those dollars is going to like fake sites like cups.com or headphones, whatever, these bullshit sites, these clickbait sites, because it registers as an impression. So a lot of the money's wasted. Second, about 8% of all consumers are driving about 85% of all clicks. So really, you're just reaching similar consumers over and over again. And that's why we're seeing these really diminished returns. And that's why most companies that I know that are small, sub $5 million, are pulling out of the D2C market because they cannot afford to play anymore. And retail has become much more enticing. All that to say that the attention economy is kind of a bubble, right? It's a big, old, lumbering, bureaucratic system that sounds like it's technology because it's supposed to be cool and edgy, but it's really just the oldest version of what we've had before. It's just an advertising system, and it's not working for a lot of people. So our brands are going to have to reach consumers through niche marketplaces, right? So we're one, right? If you want to say, hey, I have an active desire to show you that I care about mental health and your mental health. Brands have already started doing this. Look at Patagonia. They close on Black Friday. They put a black tile up and they say, don't, right? Like, that is their approach. for health and wellness, and it just sells more products. Kit Kat had a campaign, take a break, and their social tiles are like, hey, you should take a break from social media. People are waking up to this. It's not an imperative yet, oil company, where you're like, I'm going to have to create a solar panel farm to greenwash my oil company. But I think brands, you're spending $1 million on Meta, and this doesn't even cost you anything to be on this platform. You're just selling products at a discount. You know, at what point do you need to say, hey, I understand that this has a negative downside and I have to do a positive counteraction to it? Mostly get that, and are on board with it. But obviously, you know, we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
How do you guys make money, or will you make money?
We will make money. We make money a couple.
No. I'm sorry. Not will you make money? How will you make money? I know.
No. And will you make money? No, I don't plan on making any money.
No,
I mean, it would be great if we were a nonprofit, I suppose.
But
that's not generally how technology companies are built. We make money primarily, and first and foremost will be at the conversion of the marketplace. So you take those points by the end of the month, you have $100. You want to buy these new headphones. You go on, you put $50 towards it. We're going to take a small percentage of every transaction. So that's our primary driver in the beginning. So it doesn't cost you anything. It's coming out of the brand side of things. The consumer's still getting the deal. And the brands are willing to give us those affiliate fees in order to bring a new customer and a transaction. We also are going to use some ad revenue, basically with partnerships like, let's say it's Keen shoes. They're all about love running. You might run out of points one day, right? Let's say you ran out of points. We're going to give you a lot of actions to help you earn points back. So maybe you watch this ad from Keen in order to get some points back into your wallet. But it's not an extractive ad. It can't be like they're, you know, whatever the ad is. It's something that inspires you to go outside and run, as an example. It would have to be along those lines. There's also a lot of data management. Nobody really understands this customer. What is a person who actively avoids social media looking for? What do they want to do? Are they buying a house? I mean, there's ways in which we can survey people and help gather information and monetize that while still giving you value for it. So every time something is engaged with, you're going to get points, you're going to get money. So you get value out of everything. It's not extractive, it's additive. So there's a lot of different ways there. In phase 2, we want to launch a credit card. In the credit card model, if you were a credit card subscriber, because of the way those business models work, I could actually turn the points into open source cash, meaning that actual dollar in my marketplace could be an actual dollar off your credit card bill. That works in that model versus the closed source marketplace model. So there's so many ways to monetize. And then eventually brands will probably need to, or will want to participate in promotional activities, you know, getting better listings, et cetera, with us. But it's all going to be within the ethical context of what we're trying to do.
That's
awesome.
Cool. What's sorry, one last question. What's go-to-market strategy? I know that there's a number of, not the whole thing, right? You don't have to show us the entire plane here, but there is some competition in the space, not what you guys are doing and trying to carve out this area. How do you guys anticipate trying to get out to consumers?
Well, there's a few different ways. One, we're going to launch in Portland. So we're going to be a local company in Portland, Oregon, where we're based. So we're really going to do, we're going to test locality, community engagement, events, also really engaging with local vendors so that we can actually go to in real life things. That'll be part of the promotional strategy. Some of the things we won't make money on, like let's say giving you points for checking into a national park and then utilizing those partnerships. Let's say Keen is our partner. How about then Keen turns around to its employees and says, hey, we're going to give 1,000 points to whoever can meet this goal. Work with Dayo, like have the brand partnerships be part of our amplification and customer acquisition strategy. Earned media is another one. There's so many articles being written about how terrible and damaging social media is. And there's this slot for what now, right? And almost the only things you're really seeing, there's a lot of people are writing about the guys from Apple who invented that lapel phone that projects into your hand.
Yeah. They've already sold or gone bankrupt or whatever.
I'm sure. I don't know what happened, but that would be the answer, right? Because there's nothing to point to when the media is writing these articles. Well, what are the alternatives? So that's one of it. There'll be traditional acquisition strategies, digital acquisition strategies. We'll have to use that strategy as well. And then not yet announced, but there's going to be some big name partnerships, celebrities, creators, etc.
I think corporate wellness could be a way as well.
Yeah, I mean, an employee model is definitely interesting. They're harder to fundraise for, and they're harder to implement than people think. But it is something
No,
we
of
can do.
course.
I think we want to do it as an additive without making it the focus of our app, and see if it could actually be an additive service without having to withdraw from the primary goal of it, and like try to get into the United Healthcare system. Like just add it on to your employees. There's no cost. You know,
Right.
eventually you could buy points for them. So that you can reward them with it, like a 401k matching.
Right.
That's awesome, man.
Seems like
Anything we didn't cover, Corey, before we wrap up, man? This was great. This is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we can watch that video if you want, or we can wrap.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't we pull up that video real quick and we can end it on the video?
Cool.
So let's do that. So if you want to just, it says present at the bottom. It's like sharing your screen like anything else.
Yeah, cool.
Click the tab, and then I'll have to like throw it up finally.
Okay, so now we're up with this.
All right,
you see this?
Yep. So go ahead and press play. Here we go.
Dayo is a free app that incentivizes people to be mindful with their time and attention on social media. The goal is to try and keep as many points as you can each day and redeem the points for awesome products. Right here, you see a dashboard with my activity on social media for today, as well as the points I've managed to keep. In the Wallet tab, you can see that I've already made $97 that can directly be applied to products on our marketplace. In the Point History tab, you see a daily breakdown of what you've earned each day. And that brings us to the marketplace. We've partnered with great brands that are aligned with us on helping our members develop a healthier relationship with social media. Right here, you can see I'm favoriting this fitness watch and adding it to my cart. I'm a daily runner, so I've been working towards my goal for these items, and today I have enough points to get 30% off of my entire cart. Now I'm going to demonstrate how point deductions work. I have 187 points on my dashboard, and I'm going to scroll social media for a minute and show you a point deduction live. You'll see the 187 drop to 186. This will continue minute per minute, nudging our members to limit their time, because every minute on social media is actual cash disappearing from the Dayo wallet. And there you have it. If you or someone you know wants to start balancing their time spent on social media and earn some cash in the process, download the Dayo app today.
Sweet. There you go. That's awesome. Well, I have a hard stop. I gotta go, but Corey, thank you, my friend. This was great. Super excited for y'all to follow along on y'all journey. For those of you tuned in, thank you so much. I see the ticker. We've had a bunch of people tune in, so thank y'all so much. We appreciate it, and we'll see y'all Thursday with another episode. Y'all
Thanks for having us. Bye, everyone.